Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I started this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate in on the discussion, like Rick and Our Tiny Acres here, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time, or outside of my live stream, you can consider joining my Discord. There's a link for that down in the description below. Hey, Anthony and Christy, I hope you're having a great day. Uh, let's see if you're interested in getting some ideas of the meals that me and Carrie enjoy on our whole food plant-based diet, there's also a link down in the description to a Pinterest board that has a lot of our favorite meals there. Today is day 745 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a um extended water fasting and a whole food plant-based salt oil sugar-free diet to lose over 225 pounds. Let's see if anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share. I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. um if you have any on-scale victories, I'd love to hear those as well. If you're struggling with your diet, what are some of the things that you're struggling with? If you're succeeding with your diet, what are you doing to succeed? Share it with everybody. Let us know. And what are you doing to make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Uh, let's see here. Um, Christy says hi. Anthony said no audio today, so okay, your audio's fine. Okay. Um, and hi, yeah. So hey, Cindy. I hope everything's going great for you today. Let me go ahead switch over to the main screen. I don't have a whole lot to talk about today. That should just be the title of every one of my videos. I don't have a whole lot to talk about today. So we'll see how long we end up talking. But um the Our Tiny Acre says that they are fighting sweet cravings, doing pretty good, but it's definitely a mental struggle. Um yeah, I can imagine. I have a sweet tooth as well. I do love sweet items. I end up eating a lot of fruit, oranges and apples and bananas, things like that. Not exactly sure what your specific craving is, but for me, with cravings, you do have to realize that it is a craving. It's not a need. And if you are craving something sweeter, it might be that you are needing something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need what you are craving. Um, the example I give a lot of times is one of the difficulties I have is avoiding soda. And I find that when I am craving soda or I'm thinking of soda, a lot of times it's really just that I'm thirsty and my mind is going to what can I have to fulfill that thirst, but also create the greatest dopamine rush. So, um, but yeah, I hope you're able to fight the cravings, satisfy the needs, make sure you're eating plenty of food, and you don't even have room in your gut for that craving or that junk food. Um, Sydney's asking how I think weigh-in Wednesday will go for me tomorrow. I think it'll go about the same as the last few weeks. I'm going to be pretty much the same weight. I haven't had a huge drop in weight, but I'm also not too worried about it. It's again, I look back, and on October 15th, I was, or actually it was October 19th, maybe, I was 295 pounds. So I'm still 5 pounds lighter tomorrow than I would be a month from now. And I, there's so much, I could lose a bunch of weight tomorrow if I wanted. I would just not eat tonight or tomorrow morning or tomorrow during the day, or I could skip one of those three meals and I will be a pound or a pound and a half lighter than if I had all three meals. But um, I'm not expecting a huge loss tomorrow. My body may surprise me. I may end up losing a ton of weight tonight, but I'm not um I'm not doing anything to really push it either. I mean, my diet has been really good, but I haven't been doing any, hard exercises or restricting my eating or trying to fast or anything like that with it. Our Tiny Acre says the fruits have been helping, but you go in store and your brain goes, "Yum, I want that," and you have to tell it, "No, that's not food. You've been drinking water and kombucha instead of soda." Yes. Um, I was thinking about the going into the store the other day and how much I enjoy that I really don't go into the grocery store or the gas station anymore. I still go to the grocery store, but the gas station was really the place where I would heavily indulge. Like that's where the sodas were and the candies and the fried foods were at the gas stations. So um, now, you can pay for your fuel at the pump. You've been able to do that for years, but uh, I really don't go into the store at all, and it helps keep me from having any of that temptation in front of me. And yeah, it's tough to deal with it, but if you can avoid being around it, that's the best you can do. Uh, and like you said, kind of there, that it's not food, like there's a lot of chemicals and processing that happens to it that really removes it from being what you would consider food. Carrie's checking in saying, "Hello, everyone." Hello, Carrie. I hope everything's going great today at home. Um, Sydney's asking, if do I feel like I'm eating in a calorie deficit? Uh I I don't. I mean, I do, but it's something that for what I've been experiencing with this, uh there's a lot with the food that you're eating that the the it's what your body can absorb. And I know I'm eating far more calories than my body can absorb, or my body does absorb, because when I look at the toilet, I can see uh, corn and red lentils and parts of foods that aren't getting digested. So it's to me, I feel like the calorie deficit, the calories in, the calories out, it's so much more than just straight calories in, calories out. So it's hard to know if you're in a calorie deficit. Like you can eat in a calorie deficit, but I don't I think that there's a lot about that calories in that ignores the amount of food that gets absorbed. If I was eating 2,500 calories of highly processed foods that had the fiber removed from it, then my body is going to absorb a lot of that 2,500 calories. If I eat 2,500 calories of corn and potatoes and vegetables and foods that have a lot of fiber and the skin of the food still on it, or the shell of the food still on it, my body's not going to absorb anywhere near the 2,500 calories. Um, and so for me, I'm really just focused on giving my body a bunch of good nutrients and letting it take what it can from it. I know that my diet is very low in fat overall, and having that low fat diet is going to make me a low fat person eventually, but it's not a quick process. And um, it wasn't a quick process for my body to add all this fat onto it. There's no reason why it would be a quick process to remove it all, but I don't, uh, I don't focus too much on calories in, because the calories that I put in are very hard for my body to uh, absorb, and it causes me to burn more energy just in the act of my body trying to absorb them or trying to get the nutrients from them, when it's more difficult than the processed foods. Walker here asks, what do I think of balsamic vinaigrettes? It's not oil, so we don't have balsamic vinaigrettes, but we do drink, or drink. We do use a balsamic vinegar in the one of my favorite recipes, which is our polenta and white beans. I don't know the difference between vinaigrette um, and vinegar. Uh, I'm just looking it up. Balsamic vinegar is pure vinegar. Vinegar is dark brown in color, very robust, slightly sweet flavor. Balsamic vinaigrette is a mixture made with balsamic vinegar, olive oil, sugar, salt, and other spices. So I would be very much not into the vinaigrettes. Um, but a balsamic vinegar is something that we use. Um, Carrie says, just straight balsamic over here. I think a vinaigrette usually includes oil. So, yeah, we don't have anything with the vinaigrette in it. I'm not sure what kind of calorie difference is in vinaigrettes versus vinegars. And the vinegar that we use is not a ton. And I don't know, there might be some other recipes that we use other vinegars like apple cider vinegar in, but I don't think that we do. I really don't like apple cider vinegar, and that comes from doing a water fast a long time ago and trying to drink that as part of that water fast. Let me see. Yeah, so vinaigrette's usually a combo of oil and vinegar. Balsamic vinegar does not have oil. So, and plant powered peddler Janet, how are you doing? Good day to you as well today. So that is my opinion on that. Balsamic vinegars are good, not vinaigrettes. I didn't show any food photos today, and we will pop that up here and see if I even took much for food photos. I did take a couple other photos I was going to talk about. Oh yeah, dinner last night. I have a few photos here. Um, Cindy says there are flavored vinegars that are reduced to a glaze from California balsamic with decreased acidity. Okay. Let's see. The food for the last day. And I did awful with photos. Well, no, I guess I didn't do awful with photos. I didn't need a huge variety here. So, this was an item that I should have cut myself off earlier than I did, but this was a loaf that Carrie made. It didn't loaf up very much, very dense, but it was like pumpkin seed and some other things. Maybe Carrie will kind of chime in with the name of it or what the recipe was here. But I ended up having 3 pieces of this loaf And then after having 3 pieces of it, I said to Carrie, I was like, I bet this is pretty calorie dense, isn't it? She's like, yeah, there's a lot of seeds in that. So, um, but I was eating it with the dinner last night that we had. And again, I'm not going to know the name of the dinner, but we had a soup or a chili. This was a great fall recipe. This was awesome last night. This is a cabbage and lentil soup. There's also some carrots in there, and then it's got a very tomato base to it. Um, and I was actually taking the soup and I was dipping the loaf in it, and then I was putting big chunks of the soup on the loaf itself, and it was a great dinner last night. And then we had the soup for lunch today. So we had leftovers of soup for lunch, and then oatmeal for breakfast that I did not take a photo of. I didn't think to take a photo of it. Um, let's hear. So Carrie says that she was working on a potential loaf for Thanksgiving, and so that's why she made this bread here. It's just carrots, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds with parsley and thyme. Um, and then the soup that we had was just called a cabbage soup. Um, and it was it was a great soup that we had last night and today for lunch. It reheated pretty well. And Ron says that it's soup season. They had a chickpea noodle soup from the Shane and Simple, or from Shane and Simple yesterday. Yeah, that sounds good. A chickpea noodle soup. That sounds really good. And yeah, it's getting into that time of year that, these chilies and things are really awesome. And I definitely enjoyed having that for lunch today. It was a good recipe uh that Carrie had found for that. Um there was a couple other photos I was gonna take. Janet says that she's having red lentil chili for breakfast. That sounds actually pretty good too. I've been thinking more of trying to get some more vegetables in for breakfast. We do eat a savory breakfast, and I think Carrie might have put carrots in it this morning, which is I really enjoy having the carrots in our oatmeal at breakfast now. But it isn't a regular thing that we have. Let me see. There is, yeah. So I took this photo today. This was outside of my work. And so winter is here and it is among us. Um, Carrie says, we want warm and comforting things to eat. With Thanksgiving, Cindy says, with Thanksgiving coming up, do you eat at family friends' homes that are not whole food plant based? So, I would only eat something that's whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar free. And so if they have a vegetable tray at their house or a fruit platter at their house, then yeah, I would eat some of that food. But I don't intend to eat anything um, that's not compliant with my diet over the next, forever. So uh but so I just make sure that I'm eating a lot when I'm around the food that I can eat, and I make plans accordingly, so so that I don't get put into a position where I do end up getting really hungry and getting cornered by temptations. Um and then for me, with I always fall back on it, that I can go a little bit longer without eating. If I have to go another hour or 2 hours or half a day or a full day without eating, I can survive. I've gone much longer than a day without eating. Uh, and so I'll I use that kind of to help me, the confidence that I gained from doing the water fast to help me resist any temptations. I would recommend Chef AJ's book, the uh, the Secret to Ultimate Weight Loss. If you are going to be traveling, she has a lot in there about traveling and trying to eat this way, because she's got a lot of experience with that. Um, let's see. Uh, Janet says that you haven't been to a restaurant since you started this in 2020. Uh, yeah, it can be difficult to eat at restaurants. We found some options, but again, to be salt, oil, sugar free, it's very difficult to eat out or eat at a restaurant. Carrie says this morning that she did so she put carrots in it uh yesterday morning because we were running low on spinach. And Carrie's saying that she's excited for Thanksgiving here because we are going to be having a vegan Thanksgiving. So we'll be visiting my in-laws over Thanksgiving this year, and we will end up having to bring a lot of our, they eat very close to what we eat. They eat a mostly plant-based diet. So it'll be great for our kids, and then they have a lot of wonderful ingredients around because they eat a plant-based diet, but we'll pick up when we're down there food to eat throughout the weekend, or well, when we're down there. Um, but it'll be great to have kind of a vegan Thanksgiving, especially because Thanksgiving is such a not vegan holiday. So many of them are not vegan holidays. You look at just about every holiday has a different animal that we choose to celebrate or eat, celebrate the holiday by eating that animal. Um, Gene says that you are so lucky. It's mostly just you with this diet style. Yeah, I can understand how difficult that can be. The even, I have Carrie, and her parents eat similar to the way we eat, but even with having Carrie, um, it's still just us. I was at a friend's house yesterday, and he had a plate of cookies, and he was so excited for me to try. He was like, "Oh, we got these cookies. You should try these cookies," and I kind of had to just be like, I I don't eat anything that those cookies have in them. There's zero ingredients in that cookie uh, that is part of my diet. The first, the butter being one of them, but then the sugar and the chocolate and everything else that was in there. Um, and and then he was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I totally forgot." Uh, and I don't expect people to remember or to worry about my diet. I don't worry about their diets. And uh, it was just an interesting kind of experience that he, kind of was trying to get me to try these, and then I kind of had to be like, "No," and then I have to kind of feel weird, like I'm the weird person for not eating this food that would never exist in the wild. Like you would have the for one person to make a chocolate chip cookie, the amount of effort that would take without the equipment and machinery we have now would be uh much more difficult. And so um but I'm the weird one because I don't eat that stuff, right? Um let's see here. I missed some questions here. Carrie says last year for Thanksgiving we brought a pre-made holiday loaf from the grocery store, but this year we're gonna do everything from scratch, and that's why she is testing recipes. Yeah, so it's been interesting this whole since I started this. This will be kind of the third time that I have experiences because I'm into my third year. But the first year that we were on this diet, I didn't eat anything. I fasted because I was in my 42-day water fast. Then the second Thanksgiving, I would have to go back and watch my videos to see exactly what I did or how I did, but I wasn't perfect on my diet during the second Thanksgiving or that holiday season. I went back and forth between being whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar free to having meals that had salt, oil, and sugar in them. And so last year's Thanksgiving, I don't know that I was clean. And like Carrie said, we had picked up a turkey loaf, so or a a tofurkey loaf. Um, and so this year's going to be a little bit different because I intend to be 100% on diet and make the holiday workout for my diet and not not compromise my diet for the holiday. Um, let's see. The Janet says here that last year you made everybody's lentil loaf, Chef AJ's, Tammy's, the Esselstein's, etc. So which was your favorite? Did you answer here? Chef AJ's Christmas loaf, which has parsnips and no beans. You liked all of them though. They were each very different and delicious. Let's see. Our Tiny Acre says eating out is definitely a challenge. You got 3 sets of friends that always want us to go out with them too. Luckily, they are all trying to find restaurants that will cater to you. That's great that they are working to try to find places that you can enjoy too. Because it can be, Carrie does it more than I do as far as going to restaurants or public places with people and having to socialize. And I'm sure that it can be a bit awkward to go to those events and not order food when everybody else is ordering food, or to have to ask a bunch of questions of the waiter or waitress in front of the whole group you're with. And that's one of the things in that Chef AJ book. She talks about finding these recipes or I'm sorry, finding the restaurants online, calling them ahead of time and getting some of that stuff ironed out ahead of time versus while you're at the table with everybody around you. Um, let's see. Um, Ron says planning is key when you're traveling. You were stuck in the airport due to delays last week and had to dip into your stash of Lara bars. They were uh they were no good. Yeah, there were no good SOS whole food plant-based options available. Yeah, and it's great that you did have a stash for yourself or something in reserve so that if you got stuck, you had something that you could go to. Especially when you're like in the airport where you're kind of trapped in that environment. Um, for one of the things that I found is that uh like when I was traveling with my daughter last week, that there's a grocery store lots of places. And so at the very least I could go to a grocery store, pick up some bananas, apples, or very simple items to get some food. But when you're kind of locked down in an airport, that's not as easy to do. Um and let's see. Uh Carrie says you have to look up that Chef AJ's loaf. And then Janet says, you think it depends on your taste, what you like. Something about the parsnips really gave the loaf a zip. Uh, and then Carrie saying that we definitely did not have a clean Thanksgiving last year. Uh, and Janet says that she's got sweet potatoes, salad, carrots, and snap peas. As it will be 28 hours to get back to LA from where you're at. You're down in Australia, right? So, yeah, making sure you have stuff together and making sure that you're full before you leave or going into that would probably be helpful as well. So that you can go as long as possible with um, before you have to really get into the food. And yeah, 28 hours worth of travel is a lot of travel. So I hope everything goes great for you on that trip, and you're able to find food or get through your food well. Let's see. I shared a photo. There was one other thing. Yeah, it doesn't really. It just had to. My non-scale victory for the day was having to climb underneath a truck again and do some work, and I was able to get it done. It was kind of icky with this, not icky. Well, yeah, it was icky, but uh, it was water all over the place. The snow has been melting anywhere that's concrete. It's just water essentially. It's not really snow, and it was just kind of excuse me. But it was nice to be able to crawl under the truck and be able to get myself in a position to work on it and get out without having to exert an awful amount of effort. Carrie says here that she made a pumpkin bread this past weekend that you took to a family gathering, and my dad asked that we bring it to the next family gathering. It was gobbled up. The recipe is on her Pinterest board, and I don't know how it was because I didn't eat it because I was being picky about the ingredients in the food. So, but yeah, Carrie shared that, or Carrie is going to share that on the Pinterest board if anybody is interested in seeing that. Um, plant powered peddler Janet is asking, how do you get the actual recipe on the Pinterest board? I think that um you click through like links on there, and it goes to like the page that originally posted the recipe, or sometimes like the white bean and polenta recipe. Well, let me see what I can work out while we're on stream here. I'm not going to be on for much longer here, but um let me type in this and try to do this while on stream. So if I go, oh, let me pause this. So if I look at the Pinterest board, let me see if this pops up. So this is Carrie's Pinterest board here. And the white bean and polenta soup is right here. This creamy vegan polenta with mushrooms and beans. So then I am clicking here. I think I just click on that, and it goes to this potluck Oh My Veggies website, and then it has that. And I can maybe do this for you if you want to see the ingredients on there, and then view the full recipe here. Emily eats lentil white beans. Oh, if you're able to read any of what's actually on my screen or not, but this kind of how you do it. So it's a lot of clicking through to different links, and it might look different on a cell phone than it does on my computer. Um, but that should kind of help you with that. Ron here says, before you were eating whole food plant based, you didn't know you could bring your own real food on the plane. Earlier this year, you brought a wrap and did get stopped at the security scan, but was happy to have my own food with me. Yeah. Um, yeah, the whatever you can get away with on a plane, do what you can as far as bringing your own food because there's not going to be much on the plane or at the airport. It's going to be uh compliant, I mean, it is difficult to do that. So yeah, if you are on a computer, Janet, I'm hoping that you're able to kind of follow what I was doing and click kind of the same links as I was clicking there. Or if not, if it's legible on your screen or whatever, you could pause my video, I guess, and see the pages as well. So I am going to get out of here today. I have some more things I have to do at work before I go, so I definitely need to get going for the day. But I just wanted to uh, give a quick update on how things are going. I'm hoping that the weigh-in tomorrow does go well. I'm not expecting to break any records, but I hope to see at least it go in the other direction because it seems like the last few weeks it's been, I guess I've gained less than a pound in the last 2 weeks, but it would be nice to see it go the other direction. So I appreciate all you guys following along and supporting me throughout this. If you have not subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to the channel. If you've not clicked on the bell icon to get alerted when I go live or post new videos, click on the bell icon. If you've not hit the thumbs up and left a comment down below, make sure you do those things. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. Oh my gosh, I just screwed up my screen. Nobody ever uh gets to their goals, looks back and says they wish they would have started sooner or they wish they would have waited. Everybody who reaches their goals looks back and says they wish they would have started sooner. I am the same way. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow for Weigh In Wednesday, and you all have a great evening. Wrong buttons.